Hi there, my name's North and welcome to my channel. Now today I'm going to be reviewing a Metcalfe kit that's been sent to me by Richard from New Junction. I've never made a Metcalfe kit before, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how a beginner gets on with making one. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So here I've got a nice new cutting mat for my table, which is going to be much better to look at for yourselves. And here's the kit. Now, I've never had a look at one of these before, so let's get down to it and let's open it. So here's what's in the pack. Quite a lot of pre-cut cardboard, as you can see. So it should be fairly straightforward. However, these things probably really are. And that's the also pre-cut cardboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick read of the instructions and then I will come back to you and explain it all. The first things you're going to need is a modelling knife, a steel ruler, some glue. I've chosen the rocket card glue. Actually, it was requested for me to use that by Richard. Cutting surface, which is obviously this is an A2 cutting mat. A fine point pair of tweezers to hold the smaller components, and watercolour paints and a very fine brush for painting the edges and the corners, which I have got, or my son has. So let's get on with the build. So one of the first things it suggests is to make a builder's yard. Now you can pause the video and read this yourself if you like, but basically it just means that take out all the pieces, score them and take them out and pop them to one side where you know where they all are, but not on your work surface, so you don't get too cluttered up. The next part of the instruction sheet is just about a checklist, so make sure that you've got everything. So small laser cut grey card there, this small plain grey card there. We have two of the large plain grey cards, 1 and 2, and then we have two the sheet A, the main lower walls, and we have again 2 of those. So we've got everything that we need. So now let's move on to actually making cutting out the parts and then making the products itself. So first of all, I'm just going to show you here how to remove all these parts. Now most of these parts are actually already cut out, but there is a line that's only been cut down to like 75% of the thickness of the card. So you just need to take your knife and very gently just score down it. It recommends that you have a knife that is not too sharp, so you're not going to veer off the score line at all, which is a good point. But so yeah, just use a blade that is not quite as sharp as a new one. I'm pushing down quite hard. It is getting its way through, but you know, don't push down too hard, let it follow. It's always best to do 3 cuts and not damage anything than do 1 and completely ruin it all. There it is. It's all the way through. It's quite easy. And there are the parts. There's the part out. So as you can see, all of these are the same. It tells you to cut just along this line here between the 2 blue arrows. So again, very, very gently, because these are quite hard to follow because of the brickwork that has been printed over the line. So do be careful, because you can't really see that line. So I'm going to go very gently and do this so that we can get these parts out. I'm then going to go through the rest. I'm not going to bore you with me cutting out lots of different parts. So I will see you in a moment when all of these parts are cutting out, and I'll show you my builder's yard. So this is my builder's yard. Still arranging it. But as long as I know where all the bits are, should be fine. It does suggest not to cut out the laser bits until you actually need them. Okay, so the first section that we're going to do is the lower front wall section, and the first thing we have to do is fold the yellow tab back on the score line and fix it to the back of the wall. This is going to be the first time I've actually used the rocket card glue as well, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this comes out. Oops. Yeah, very quickly, so just let's be careful not to put too much on, but make sure it is glued securely. Wow, that sticks really quickly. Now the next is to take two of the plain grey front to lower wall spaces and stick them directly on top of the yellow tab. To my builder's yard I go. And there's two of these placed like that, one on top of the other. Again, I have to be careful with this glue. Imagine too much is needed. First thing we're going to do is stick one right on top of the other and hold them in place for a second. There you go. Now to stick it onto the wall. Just going to check what the fitting looks like so that I know what I'm doing. Okay, a little bit of glue, hoping that doesn't blob out. Right, you've got a little bit of movement time with this rocket glue by the look of it, but not an awful lot, which is probably what's called rocket card glue, because it does stick relatively quickly. Now, you have to bend these in. So there's something. Make sure that these are actually cut. There's going to be some parts of this kit that probably aren't quite cut all the way through, so just double check before you go moving stuff. Could have ripped that backwards. There are 12 inner grey frames shaped like this, which are these ones. And they are going to sit three for each wall section. Right, so they're actually going to support here, here and here. And, oh I see, okay, so we flick out these pieces and they hold those pieces like that. There you go. And they're obviously going to sit in there like that, probably sit flush underneath there. And support that wall. In fact, it'll probably go that way. Right. So, I'm going to get on with that and I'll come back in a bit when I've done all those. Okay, so now I've made all these. The first one has got to be fitted in the centre. The bottom pieces here have to be level with the actual bottom, rather than being pushed up against this piece here. So make sure that those are flat against there, and it's a case of gluing. And I am going to just glue up the sides. I'm using the long applicator that came with the rocket card glue, and I find that actually is quite a lot better at putting a better amount of glue onto the card without it running everywhere like you saw me do before. So you get that with it. It's quite difficult to put on, but a little bit of hot water helps a little bit. So now we've done those, we've got to stick these others on. I've got to make sure that the edges here are going to be flush with this wall here. So do make sure that they fit in before you do anything, and that they are flush to the bottom too. With these, I think I'm going to glue down the edge of these and then stick it in. Brilliant, got glue on my fingers already. I am absolutely terrible with glue on my fingers. So that is in level. Now all I need to do, see how quick that glue works. Just that tiny bit that was stuck on my fingers actually glued that in. And there we go. And that is glued in. I have to say, for the first time I've ever done this, it's relatively easy. Just follow the instructions, read the instructions, but yeah, it's not hard. So it's just a case of, yeah, read the instructions first. Don't do what we normally do, lads. Always think we know what we're going to do, and probably won't. Right. Stick a load in here. Stick it up. That's all level and it is stuck in. Sorry, doing that slightly off camera there. There we go. Right then. The next bit is to fix the back wall to the front wall. So I'm going to read the instructions on that, come back and show you how I'm going to do it. So the first thing we've got to do is take the inner back wall and also a place of the plain grey card, which is obviously the same size. Keeping all four of these edges accurate, we're basically just bolstering up this piece of card. So we're going to glue it together. I'm going to run a bead around the outside, roughly. That wasn't very high on the outside, was it? And then a random now watch me stick my fingers together. So we've got a few seconds to shift things, but not long. Once it's on, I'm going to press it down for a few seconds, and then we should be okay. Right, and now we've got to stick this to that to create your wall. Now I'm probably going to try and stick it mainly standing up, because I can get it flush with the base and make sure all these are in. So in fact what I might do is actually just tack it at the top first, then run some glue underneath, but no, maybe not. Maybe the best thing to do would be to pop it on and stand it up. I'm going to pop a bit of glue on there, a bit of glue on here. Stand that up and some glue around the outside. Here goes nothing. Right, we're on number 5 already. We're on the top wall sections, so I'm going to go and have a read of that, and then I will come back and show you what the rest of it is. Okay, so this is the top section of the wall. It includes a printed piece of card that goes on the back, facing backwards, 2 grey card strips without the corners cut off, the W2 which has got the line at the bottom. This goes behind the holy one, like so. And the idea is we glue this and then it should stand up on its own. This is going to be quite hilarious to get this done all in one go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick obviously one of them to that for a start off, and then stick the other one and do them in sequence and stand them up. Otherwise I think I'm going to get into some trouble, especially with the rocket card glue being so instantly grabby. Right, it doesn't matter which way round they go, but let's get it up and glued as fast as possible. There we go. That should be okay. Right, and now for the next one. Stand it up, get it lined up, get it pushed down to the straight as quick as possible. Hold it together and we should be good to go. Right, it's already fairly solid and being able to stand on its own, but finally we've got these bits to put on, so crack on with that. Make sure that everything is well stuck down. I'm not going to worry too much about that, as long as everything is stuck down okay. Right, quite a solid little wall with some, there's a bit of spillage there, but doing all right. And then finally this bit that's going on, and this is where this little applicator comes in brilliant, because you're not going to put too much on, he says, to be able to squirt out loads at the sides, which is what we don't want. However, first time, bound to go wrong, isn't it? Right, let's get that. Has it gone wrong? I don't think it did. Right, it just suggests that just leave that for a little while. And there we have it. Right, we're on section 6, which is attaching this to that. So I'm going to do some more reading and I'll come back and we'll do it. Okay, so having read that bit of the instructions, simply take the wall. We take a small section of the plinth, the laser cut, oops, that's these. Take one section out. We're going to glue them like that, and we're also going to glue that like that. We're going to use the straight edge to make sure that they it stays level together, and we're just going to then push down and make sure that they're both stuck nicely, and then leave it for a little bit. So the glue's going to go onto there, and the glue's going to go onto there, and then we're going to glue them. Gotta watch these bubbles coming out of here. Right. You can put quite a bit of pressure on this stuff. It's actually quite strong when it's all stuck together. Make sure that's not stuck to the baseboard. And leave it to let the glue set, basically. Right, while that wall's now drying, keep doing that. These are the end columns. So there's one of these and one of these. So these make up exactly the same as the inner ones on the main lower wall. So just fold these up, then open them up while we bend these down, and then literally going to glue them all together. So get them roughly looking right. We can probably run the glue down here is a better option. Yeah, probably say it is. Well, I've just done all that out of shot as well. Well done. Right. These are slightly awkward because these have 3 pieces in to hold together. Luckily, you've got 6 of these and you only need 5. So if this one really does no good, it's a practice. But I think it should be okay. So there's your inner strengthening strut for the actual end column. So we're going to bend this column. So the first thing we want to do with this one is there's a back on this. This is the front. So I see two sides, front, and this is the back. So we're going to completely enclose this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is put the front down and put the side on first. These are going to want to stay flush again with the bottoms. So once that's there, that's going to lift. This is going to have a little bit of a lip, which I don't know whether you can see, but as that folds over, that should be level with it. So once we've got it fitted, we fitted that first wall. Now once we've fitted that first wall, this wall and this wall should come up and create a whole thing. So we can now run some glue down there, run some glue down here, run some glue over there, and run some glue over there, and we should be pretty set to fold everything over and create an end column. There we go. One end column completed. Pretty cool. Nice and easy. Good stuff. And that's it. The only thing that we have then got to do is to stick one of these onto the side. So join me in a minute. Okay, so having consulted with Richard, these ones sticking on the right hand side. It does say that in the instructions, but I just wanted to double check with him before I go and do it. So basically lying this on flat on its back, pop a ruler on the bottom just so that you can butt this to it, and then slide it up and glue it on. So quite simply, we're going to put some rocket card glue on to this side, on the back, and that should be enough to stick it down. I've noticed I've got a little bit there, but the lucky thing about this is it does dry clear. So everything being pressed in, and it should glue. So I'll be back in a second when all of this is done. Okay, so the last bit is to fit the capping stones to here, which are a layer of 3, this one, then this one, then this one, and then also another strip of these capping stones on the top there. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out one each of these, and then we'll fix them up. So as you can see, that's now finished, and I think it looks very good. I'm going to crack on with the other 3, and then I'll show you them at the end and give you my verdict on what I think of these Metcalfe kits. So there we have it. There's the 4 retaining walls already built up. You have 2 spare end columns here with the cap stones which go onto there. I think it looks amazing. It's very, very easy to make. You do only need a few tools, some tweezers, a craft knife, a metal ruler and some glue. I've used rocket card glue. It's very, very good. I've never used it before. It's very quick. Less is definitely more. It sets a lot quicker when you put only a little bit on, and it does glue really, really well. So I'm going to take these back to Richard. He's going to install these into New Junction. Hopefully they won't look too different to the ones he's made up. And I'll leave you with a final word from me. Well, thanks all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed my first Metcalfe build and making this kit up. And thanks very much to Richard from New Junction for loaning me this kit to review. As always, thank you to all my subscribers. And if you did like the video, then please like and subscribe. It does really help. Bye for now.